Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into an urgent and powerful story, the Gen Z protests in Nepal, where young people are fighting back against government corruption, censorship, and authoritarianism. It's a movement rooted in digital activism and real-world resistance, and it's shaking the very foundations of power in their country. So let's unpack what's going on and why these protests matter globally. In early September 2025, the Nepalese government ordered the shutdown of 26 social media platforms, including giants like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, X, YouTube, Reddit, and others because they hadn't registered under new Ministry of Communication rules. While some platforms tried to comply, many didn't, and the ban went into effect. This ban struck a nerve especially with Gen Z, who not only live online but saw censorship as a broader symptom of corruption, privilege, and a lack of accountability. Online movements like #NepoKids spotlighted the children of political elites, arguing they benefited unfairly, fueling broader resentment. On September 8th, protests erupted across Kathmandu, particularly near the parliament and Metagar Mandala. Tens of thousands, mostly young, mobilized online and took to the streets in protest. They attempted to storm parliament and security forces responded with tear gas, water cannons, rubber bullets, and even live ammunition. Tragically, at least 19 people were killed and hundreds were injured. Protests spread to cities like Itahari, where a few of the fatalities also occurred. Interestingly, protesters adopted the Straw Hat Pirates' Jolly Roger flag from One Piece as their symbol, a powerful emblem of rebellion, freedom, and unity in the face of oppression. The movement morphed into more than an anti-censorship resistance. It was now anti-corruption, anti-privilege, and anti-authoritarian at its core. Social media platforms were unblocked within just a day, marking a rare but significant concession. The consequences were swift. On September 9th, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned, citing the need for constitutional resolution and acknowledging the crisis severity. Several ministers, including the Home Affairs Minister and 21 MPs from the Rashtriya Swatantra Party, also stepped down. Meanwhile, curfews were imposed nationwide, including in Kathmandu and Lalitpur, but the youth kept protesting anyway. The country was suddenly thrust into political turmoil with calls for systemic reform and fresh elections. So why should we care? This is Gen Z demanding more not just for themselves but for their country. They're rejecting censorship and fighting for digital freedom. They're speaking up against corruption and privilege in politics. They're setting a global example. Youth-led, digitally fueled movements can drive real change, and they're already succeeding, forcing resignations, lifting censorship, and pushing for accountability. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch condemned the state's lethal crackdown, calling it a human rights violation. Globally, we are seeing similar patterns from anti-corruption student movements in Serbia to other protests across Europe and Asia. Nepal's protests fit into this broader narrative, a digital native generation wielding information, creativity, and solidarity to demand justice. Their storytelling using anime flags and memes and their decentralized leadership model create powerful, emotionally resonant movements that can't easily be silenced. And for anyone watching, there's a lesson here. Authenticity, narrative, and shared symbols can amplify voices rapidly. This is what happens when young people channel frustration into collective action. They can bend the system, challenge corruption, and shake entire governments. To wrap up, Nepal's Gen Z movement reminds us that the future is not passive. It's digital, it's loud, and it's courageous. They demanded free speech, accountability, and transparency, and the old guard cracked under pressure. Their story urges us to stand up, get involved, and believe in youth-led change. Thanks for watching. If this story inspired you, hit like, share, and subscribe, and let's keep spotlighting voices and movements that matter.